Hello, people. This is Lee Cole 3 from the Lee Cole 3 podcast. I have my partner, James Proctor, here. James, how are you doing today?
Hey, doing really good. How are you, Lee?
Not bad. You know what I wanted to talk to you about, James? It
hmm
seems like uh, for a guy that's not really pissed at Mikey Scars, Sammy's really kind of talking about it lately.
hmm
And I want to show something. And we're also going to talk about Sammy made the statement that he feared for his family's life when he flipped on John Gotti, like they were going to hurt the family. And I'm
hmm
going to tell you some information that I got on that,
Okay.
and we'll take it from there. What do you think about uh, the things he's been saying?
Well, you know what? We've been hearing it for years, but now that you've got Mikey Scars that's able to look at every single word and bring out these mistruths, it really brings a different perspective to this. So, I'm actually learning a lot. A lot of things, I didn't know was true or not, but now, you're seeing is definitely, was made up or embellished.
Yes, and I'm going to make something perfectly clear. I have no, my opinion. Mikey Scars. I did a video on him the other day. It was honest. It went in a different direction. This this video is going to be more in support of Mikey Scars about what's going on because I'm just trying to do honest videos. I don't care whether he's an informant or not. Well, actually, let
Right.
me rephrase that. I care that he's an informant,
hmm
but at the same time, if he deserves credit when credit's due, he's going to get it. Uh,
Yeah, I think, and that makes sense. I think we're definitely being fair, even for Sammy. One of the I did just want to make one positive about him is that I do appreciate what he's doing. In his battle against drugs and all that, because I know he lost one of his members of the production staff, and so I do appreciate that part of it.
Drugs are
But
for drugs affecting everything. Drugs is
oh
affecting
yeah,
everything. But
hmm
not let's not
exactly.
forget that Sammy was also a major drug dealer.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to
Okay.
say. So he's doing all that now, but then he was the biggest ecstasy dealer in Arizona for a couple
Yeah,
of
and
years. So
that's
it's just weird to me.
okay. Let me see. Let me pull this up. Okay, I'm gonna play this. I'm not gonna play this part. This under fair use. Please, this is from Sammy Gravano's channel. So if you like it, you want to go there and sub, do whatever you want.
Yep.
First, but anyway, I'm gonna play this and okay, so Sammy's kind of losing his cool with Mikey Scars. He's not saying Mikey Scars' name, but listen to this and you're going to know he's talking about Mikey Scars.
Okay.
I didn't get 30 years. I got 3 years. 3 years. And you're crying? I said, if you didn't cooperate, you probably would have been doing less time. What the fuck are you going to prison for? The bookmaking, I was taking numbers and then betting horses and betting or gambling. You fucking idiot. The most you would have got if you went to trial is 4 or 5 years without ranting. Now you ran it and you're gonna do 3 years. You fucking imbecile. But I wanted to leave my wife and be with my girlfriend and go in the witness protection program. I hit him a fucking slap in his fucking face. Get the fuck away from me. You wanted to leave your wife? And you ratted on your friends and put them away. For what? Because you want to leave your wife? Oh my God. And I gave him a good crack and I had to get away from him. So you hear, some stories are pure evil. I believe a guy who's not even arrested or facing big time, and he's wired up and he's talking to his friend. So your friend don't know. I'm talking to Anna. She's wired with the FBI, God forbid. And I'm talking to her as a friend. I don't know. And then she's with my kids. My kids are on that tape. I'm on the tape. You fucking lowlife. You want to shoot me? Do something if you hate me. Why would you do that? So that kind of a cooperator, confidential informant, that turns my fucking stomach. If you got pinched and you got fucked, whatever your story is, and you read it, that's one thing. But when you become a confidential informant, or you're a guy facing 10 years, 10 years in prison, and he cooperates, you would have did 7.5, 8 on the 10. You can't do that? You should have never even been under life. And then his story is they put me on a shelf. Put you on a shelf. Get off the shelf or do whatever you want or go kill them. That's your argument? That's why you cooperated? Oh my God. But I don't know. So I hear a lot of these stories from guys on all these YouTube programs, guys that badmouth me a little bit and saying all kinds of shit. I would love to answer, but I don't because I know their motive is to make me answer so they get my people.
Yeah, you're on mute.
Does Sammy get it? He did just answer. And it's
Yeah.
obvious that he was talking about Mikey Scars in the second half of that part. He was looking at 10 years. He was on the shelf. Who else is he talking about? And
Yeah, and I just want, I don't understand where he would get the 10 years from because in June of 2002, Mikey Scars was indicted. He was labor racketeering, extortion, loan sharking, witness tampering, and then the murder of Fred Weiss. That could be that would actually be life in prison.
yes,
He
and
could
then
have gotten that.
they probably had another indictment sitting down that they're not,
Mhm.
once you're in your prison term and you're doing it, that's one thing that we could talk, and this is the actual facts.
Mhm.
Mikey Scars was not looking at 8 to 10 years. Mikey Scars was looking at life. Now, I'm not saying that's a good reason to do what he did.
Right.
And, but Sammy seems to think that what he did, the type of writing that he did, is different than the type that Mikey did. Is it really different, James?
No, I mean it's definitely not. I mean, like even in this week's show, he was he really wants to diminish his cooperation. So what Sammy was saying today, oh well, I just had to cooperate for 2 years, and that was it. And if I didn't want to cooperate after that, I didn't have to. That type of thing. And then supposedly had the sweetheart deal where he didn't have to testify against his friends or anyone in his crew and all that. But
And here's
yeah, I'm
a
yeah,
funny thing we're going to talk about, James. I'm
yeah.
sorry. You finish what you were saying first. I apologize.
No, I was just saying it's just to me, it doesn't matter if you're going to go down that road and provide, turn to the government, provide testimony against people that in that life that you said you were brothers with, then it's the same thing.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, okay, it's obvious that more people were put away, and no matter how Mikey Scars wants to say it, the fact of the matter is more people was put away by Mikey Scars than Sammy Gravano.
Hmm.
But there's no difference the level of who did it, who were a wire, or who uh, they have to pay for it. And both of them are out now doing shows, so actually it worked out for both of them, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it did. I mean, they're both out. As far as the wire goes, I didn't know that part of it. Maybe that is true. I didn't know that Mikey Scars wore a wire. So,
I don't think so. And
yeah, I've never heard that before.
right, right, and I'm sure Mikey Scars can respond on that. But we do know that Mikey Scars is looking about 8 to 10 years, and then he said that he was mad because he was shelved.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, exactly. And he was shelled. That part we know. And again, I argue that he is actually facing life. He might not have gotten life, but he was
oh, he
facing
would have
life
gotten life.
because
He would have got. They
yeah,
all got life. Any of them
yeah.
that had that conspiracy to murder,
Hmm.
racketeering, they all, they get at least 25 full years to life. There's no
Oh
get.
yeah,
The
yeah.
feds ain't going to be, if they're not going to cooperate, the feds are going to make examples out of them.
Exactly, and they didn't like him, and they weren't too happy anyway because he had beat that first trial a year before the thing down at the Gold Club in Atlanta. So yeah, they
Yeah.
weren't going to give him any breaks.
And so I'm going to play a quick little clip from R.J. Rogers and
Okay.
Mikey Scars show. And please go sub to their show if you like their show. Uh, and I'm not telling you to go to Mikey Scars show. I'm telling you to go to R.J. Rogers show. And so let me put this up, and we'll go from there. Okay. So this is called John Gotti told Sammy Bull's family that they had nothing to worry about. Okay. And what Sammy's saying now is Sammy's saying that he was worried about his family when he flipped and turned
Hmm.
evidence. He was worried that his family was going to be hurt by John Gotti or John Gotti Jr. or
Right.
or the Gotti family, who's ever
Hmm.
whoever was around at that time that represented the family. Uh,
Right.
but I think at that time John Jr. was in charge of the family that they're talking about.
Yeah.
91, 92.
Hmm.
Okay, so let me play this. What Mikey says. It's not too long, so let me just play it.
Body tapes wouldn't be fair to Sammy.
We have to let the people know what's on them.
No excuses. Official merchandise logo.
John Jr. and I went to go see his family and reassured them they had nothing to worry about. That's right, Sam. Why don't you say that? Now, the story about Joey Bellotti and Joe Watts, that's a lie. Don't make Joe Watts a punk because he ain't no punk, which is a lie. Joe Watts was never doing anything or asked for permission to do anything to anybody's children. It's a lie. You keep continuing to lie. The ship is listing pretty good. We're going to put it back up. We'll get that ballast on the right side. If Joe Bellotti would have told Joe Watts anything, Joe Watts wouldn't even had to put it on record. He would have been dead and it would have been over. I got a name for him. You want to know his name? Why are you laughing?
Okay, that's just this part I wanted to play.
Hmm.
Okay, so basically he's saying there that that him and John Jr. and I talked to Angel Gotti about this too. So this is just more than one person confirming this story. Him and he went to see Gravano's family after Gravano flipped,
Hmm.
and then when they went in, Karen Gravano, I'm sorry,
Hmm.
who has all sorts of mean stuff on her. I was going through her Instagram, the stuff that she puts down, like her father's innocent of, kind of really naive. But
Hmm.
anyway, Karen was on the floor that night. That people found out screaming and crying. She was humiliated. She hated her father. She was embarrassed. The whole family was. And they went there to assure them that everything was okay. John Gotti went with Mikey Scars to the house to tell him everything was okay.
Yeah. Yep. Gone. John Gotti Jr. Yep.
Yeah. And so, and we have another thing. Sammy said he was scared of gas pipe because he had the opportunity to testify against gas pipe and he refused. Why, Jay?
Right. Yeah, because he was afraid that his family would be targeted by gas pipe, and with gas pipe, well, we just did the show about him, about Vic and gas, and yeah, he did go after civilians and people's families. So
And then we're talking, and this is where when Sammy is full of it, because so he's trying to say that he wouldn't testify against gas pipe because he thought gas pipe would go after his family, but he had no trouble about testifying against Gotti, even though he thought Gotti would go after his family. It makes no sense.
yeah, and especially if he was in the administration, Sammy knew that that the Gambino family didn't go after family members, and he knew that code of honor, and so yeah, I'm not, I just think Sammy was, for whatever reason, making some stuff up.
Well, yeah, you just listen to some of the things he says. I'm not sure if he said this, but did he say that his family was prepared and knew that he was going to go into the program? What did he say about that? Do you know?
Well, only thing I know about yeah. So what happened was that he actually talked to them about it before he agreed, and he said a couple of different stories. One was that he was, if they wasn't agreeing with it, then he wouldn't do it. But then, apparently the feds talked to um, his wife Deborah, I believe, And then anyway, they said that they would not go, on the run with him, or on the run, but go into the program with him. And so when he got relocated, first to Colorado and then Arizona, they stayed behind in, at least in New York for a period of time.
But they eventually wound up there.
Yeah, and they did, but there wasn't any fear of their life. A lot of, in fact, when they went after Sammy Gravano, there was the hit that allegedly Peter Gotti ordered Huck and Eddie Garofalo to murder Gravano in Arizona. This was in '99, and the reason for that was that the understanding is the Gambinos were really upset with Gravano. They left him alone for many years, but they got upset because in '97 he did the bio Underboss. So he had his book that went out, and he hired a publicist. He was going on on television and everything. And then the other problem is that he had an interview with the Arizona Republic where he said that the federal agents he had met with after becoming a government witness had become his personal friends, had visited him in Arizona while on vacation and all that. And so anyway, those stories and him being out there just basically thumbing his nose at the Gambinos is what got them to make that attempt in '99, because they waited 8 years, and they would have never even done anything. But it's just it incensed them that he was thumbing their nose as he was from '97, '98, '99.
And that's Sammy's story. He thumbs his nose at everything. He doesn't take responsibility. And if you go over Karen Gravano's Instagram, she's calling everybody names except the person she had this one thing on her page where she talks about what a psychopath is. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, she's a nasty woman, and I don't like going into the families or anything, but she's out there, and so just she's she's tough. I give her that.
Oh, without a doubt,
to be nasty,
Yeah, and I can understand you defending your father, but then that article that came out where they were talking about Lee Bailey, the lawyer, F. Lee Bailey. She put that up on her page and was saying, "See, my father flipped because of the fact that John Gotti was telling him to take the fall." So, she's in a position now where she's just trying to make her father look like that he's okay either. I mean, he's okay for ratting, but everybody else, is no good.
Yeah, and it's just ironic too. Sammy Gravano always complained about John Gotti, saying how he was always out in the public, always seeking that publicity. But look at Sammy, like how much he wants to be out there. Since the mid '90s, he was on television. He wanted to, what he's doing with this podcast and everything, wants to be an actor, all types of stuff. So I know he's not in the life, but he thinks he's still in the life. And so it's just very ironic. He's one of those that wants to continue to go after his victims, and I just think that's very low. That's a low blow when you.
I think what they need to do too. I think what Karen Gravano needs to do is thank John Gotti, because would anybody know who Karen Gravano is if it wasn't for John Gotti? Would anybody even know who Sammy Gravano was if it wasn't for John Gotti? Sammy Gravano was just the guy holding the umbrella. He was the guy that nobody if you didn't know the mob, you didn't know who Sammy Gravano was.
Oh yeah, and that's the case. And then it's ironic where Gravano's always talking about Mikey Scars being this hang-around guy, and it's definitely not the case. And so I give them credit for one thing, talking about that the family, Junior and Mikey Scars, going to Karen and Gerard and tell them, and then Deborah as well, the wife, saying, hey, everything will be okay. Nothing's going to happen to you. So, that was, I think, a classy move, in my opinion, to do that, to make them reassured that nothing would happen to them.
Yep, but unfortunately, people forget those things. And it's a
Hmm.
new era. Sammy Gravano is the toll booth, the money collector for that family now. I mean,
Yeah, and yeah, it's true. And we see, and then it really hit home. We had our live, and we see people that they don't know as much about the mafia. They saw Sammy, and they know the big stuff. They know John Gotti's name, and everything. But the thing is, you get people that are fans of Sammy and this mafia stuff, and they don't know the truth. They listen to Sammy and think, "Wow, what a cool guy! What a interesting life this guy had," and they believe what he says,
and
and they don't know the
99.9% of America did not know who Sammy Gravano was until the
No,
final arrest, and he was with John Gotti.
exactly,
Otherwise,
exactly.
Sammy Gravano is just this little mob experts,
Mobologist,
mobologists
yeah, sure.
will know who he was, but the average
Hmm.
guy in the street would have no idea who Sammy Gravano was.
Yeah,
None.
and then for that matter, they wouldn't know who Mikey Scars was.
Yeah, and that's the reality of it. And Sammy
Yeah.
and Karen Gravano, who'd Karen Gravano be? She'd just be somebody that nobody absolutely doesn't know. She went to mob wives, rolled
Hmm.
around on the floor, let her boomers hang out, and that's what she's remembered for. I mean,
Hmm.
and so she could do what she wants. God
Yeah.
bless her. But the
Yeah.
reality is, now she's trying to, after all these years, she always she was very ashamed of her father for several years,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she was.
and now she's trying to protect him like he's some kind. Yeah, we got to protect the golden goose.
Well, and that's what I wonder too, is that, they see Sammy as a gold mine now. They see that, that he's going to have a legacy of money and that type of thing. I don't, I'm not saying that's,
I think that
Karen.
when something happens to Sammy, they're going to weekend at Bernie's him. They're going to come out. They're going to prop him up. They're going to put the sunglasses on him.
Yeah.
They're going to put a little tape recorder behind his voice.
Hmm.
You know, But that's the way it is. Sammy's a
Oh, yeah.
miserable, mean man that
Yeah.
people want to think otherwise. If you attack him, he does come back at you. His daughter seemed to inherited his nature,
Yeah.
and if the daughter doesn't want to be talking about or putting that same line, Karen Gravano has to understand that when you write all that stuff and you put that stuff on Instagram to protect your
Hmm.
father and you go after other people, you're open for it.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
And yeah, exactly. And then you see Gerard, and he's totally the opposite. You don't see
you
him
barely
out
know who he
there.
is.
Right. And everyone I've heard that deals with Gerard, and he's actually on my Facebook, but he, people like him, and so it's a lot different him versus his sister, who's
Yeah,
out there all the time,
yep, I've
in the
never had
public
an
eye.
issue with Gerard ever.
Hmm.
But the fact of the matter is, yeah, he is. But this is their father, and I can respect
Yeah,
that.
sure.
This is their father, and but if you're gonna make statements and stuff, remember one thing, people. And this I'm saying to the people that were around John Gotti. Without John Gotti, and this ain't kissing John Gotti's ass. This is just fact. Without John Gotti, none of you people would even be known in history.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. And you're on here right now, and you're known because of the guy that you ratted out or the family you ratted out, and that goes for all you guys. Otherwise, who are you? You're a mobster that only mob experts know. But luckily, there's this, and now people know them that know nothing about the mob and they don't care.
Hmm.
They believe everything they say.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
well, people, please hit the like button, hit the sub button. I appreciate it. Hit the reminder bell if you want to donate. The donation will be underneath here. We appreciate you coming on. We're going to hopefully drop this tonight.
Mhm.
James, thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, people, thank you. I appreciate it.